Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the Canadian MJ space. We'll start it off with CGC, then we'll look at the US MJ videos probably tomorrow. So CGC is a daily inside bar, and we're going to use the US tickers here for the names that have more volume, even though we skipped a day. Not a whole lot went on with Canada open and the US closed, very low volume on that day yesterday, Thursday. So CGC daily inside bar. As we know, CGC has been very convincingly giving us daily lower highs time and time again. Anything under 41.65 is just a lower high. If this inside bar breaks bearish on Monday by breaking 39.83, then we have a new daily lower high at 41.07. The key support is the low 38.08, and the bulls have done nothing to change momentum. Yes, it was a great, nice bounce, but we haven't changed the 4-hour trend. We haven't even changed the hourly trend. So just keep in mind, we've seen this before. These bulls make big bull moves and no confirmation of trend change. We see it on the daily, the hourly, the 4-hour. We have to see follow through to put continued pressure on shorts. Otherwise, shorts just cover, wait for the bulls to get exhausted, re-enter their positions, and then we fade back down. So we have to see an hourly trend change, a 4-hour trend change, a daily trend change. Otherwise, it means nothing. Cron had a bear break of its equilibrium pattern. The break of 15.25 was notable. 15.02 broke as well. And anything now, when we do see a bounce, another daily inside bar, so we'll watch that on Monday. But even if it breaks bull, anything under 16.45 is just a daily lower high. So again, another name where we saw a huge bounce, no daily trend change confirmation with the higher low and higher high, and we just formed a tightening range that has now broken bearish. Looking at it on the weekly time frame, we would have to hold 1351 and break 1786 to change the weekly trend, and the bulls just aren't proving anything in the sector. ACB, daily inside bar. Break it bullish, and our daily higher low will be established at 746. And if we break it bearish, then we have not established that higher low yet. Again, great bounce for CGC. Saw 13% bounce, 14. Did we confirm the trend change? In my opinion, no. We need a clear period of consolidation into a period of continuation, and we just don't have that in the Canadian MJ space. We have it in the US MJ space on a handful of names. C-Web, MedMen, we'll look at those in the next video, not Canada. APHA. So we're still watching the 2-day time frame here for clarity on this equilibrium, and we'll draw out these levels. We've got the high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. We're scouting a higher low compared to 635. If this inside bar breaks bullish, we can look at that as our higher low of the pattern. And if it breaks bearish, that tells us our higher low compared to 635 has not formed yet. TLRY, also still in a tightening range, close to a bear break, but still holding on just barely. We've got our high, low of the pullback, lower high, and now just grinding along the support. 45.90 key support. 49.49 has to break for the bulls to try and get any bounce follow through. Hexo, still in a clear daily downtrend, sideways trading the past few days. 503 is the key support level, and anything under 554 is just a daily lower high. Bulls are trying to level things out, but until we change the trend, the bears have this slow bleed in their favor. I'm interested in Hexo. Whenever we see something level out like this, it gets my interest to see the shift potentially taking place, and we'll look at T-God, and T-God is one of the few Canadian MJ names that is showing life today. So we'll look at a comparison, and that will show why I'm interested in Hexo. OGI, getting a little bit of follow through. Again, key resistance for me on OGI is 888. Certainly doing better than Hexo and TRST, but it's still not convincing enough yet. There's no real strong bull volume. There's no real clear trend change. We're looking up at 867 as resistance, and then we're looking up at 888. TRST just grinding along, not doing anything. We've got our low of 625 as support. For the bulls to prove anything, I need a break of 674, and we don't have any sign of a shift in momentum. We have the daily exponential resistance driving the price down. We're keeping our eyes out for that shift, but only a few names are showing it, and certainly less in the Canadian MJ sector, as more and more interest is going to the US MJ space as far as risk to reward. A lot of people thinking that the multiple exponential hype euphoria runs we've seen in Canada have played out, and that we're not going to see really the same kind of action. We'll know in the fall as we head up towards October and December for the edibles, but I will be looking for a bull move certainly heading into that, but I will not be looking for the kind of bull move that we've seen in this sector in the past. VFF had a big bull day. It stands out today. So again, I get interested when we see lower lows and no follow through. 1081 broke and we got no follow through. So we're now looking at key resistance of 1179, keeping in mind that the most clear time frame is the 2-week when looking for this equilibrium. And if this daily resistance breaks of 1179, the odds that our weekly, or I should say our 2-week higher low, odds will be that that has formed. So we're looking to see, is this our higher low? And if we break that level of 1179, odds will increase. Then yes, it has. And then we'll look for this to tighten up through July, and we'll look for a clear break late July or early August of this pattern that will either have us looking back towards the all-time high or looking towards further monthly consolidation. Just monthly inside bar after monthly inside bar. And we did actually break it bearish this month, but again, there was no follow through behind that. T-God. So there's the move, and T-God is a falling wedge. So we've been highlighting this the past couple of videos where the bulls have not really been able to do a whole lot, but again, it was just a tightening pattern where I should say the bears haven't been able to do a whole lot either. And I'm not going to be able to draw it well here on this current time frame, but the bottom line is the most important factor of a falling wedge bullish reversal pattern is dropping to lower lows, keeping a lower high, lower low pattern, but the lower lows do not get much follow through. And you can just see the bears running out of momentum, and we double bottomed it we broke it by a penny. So we break support by 3 pennies, no follow through, lower high, break support by 1 penny, no follow through, bull break. Our lower highs have now broken. It's on more than average volume. It's a big green Marubozu candlestick. We've got 342 as key resistance. If we break that on Monday, this move is even more convincing. We're closing over the daily 12-period exponential resistance for the first time in about 5-6 weeks. If we can close over both of these levels, it'll be the first time in about 6-7 weeks. So now that this shift is going on, number one, we have to see follow through, but we're just going to be looking for a weekly lower high under 428. So again, we can't lose sight of the longer term picture. We're not changing the weekly trend anytime soon. And even if this bounce gets follow through, we have to change the daily trend. And the fact that this move is coming off of the low, we're not changing the trend. We need that follow through. Yes, the big bull move is great. Putting pressure on shorts is great, but we need the higher low and higher high on the daily to confirm the trend change. Look for the bull cross of the 12 and 26 period moving average and get some significant follow through. So every name that looks like this, and in the US, there's a couple names that look like this with just lower highs and lower lows and no follow through. All it takes is just that spark to see that very clear shift in momentum. TRST, I'm keeping an eye on it. Bulls aren't showing me anything, but again, it's the same thing. We break support, we don't get a whole lot of follow through, and rather than seeing the sector as a whole shift that momentum, we're really seeing just one name at a time. We've got maybe 3 or 4 names in the US space that are doing it, maybe 1 or 2 names in the Canadian space, and the question is it going to be a trickle effect? Do we see the more names doing this? Does this make people a little bit more bullish and looking for who's going to be the next one to make this next bull move? Now the extraction play, Labs. So Labs is a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is the case on a handful of names as well. We have our left shoulder, there's our head, and now we're looking for the right shoulder. And if the bulls can break 547 and 555, that will be a daily trend change with a higher low and a break of the lower highs. That would be notable. And again, we're looking for a monthly higher low to form on Labs, and not too bearish of consolidation. You know, big picture, this is just fine overall. And the bulls, the sooner the better to change this daily trend. And key support is down at 510. And there's a difference between, I've talked in the past before about being aggressive or being conservative. I personally, I'm in conservative mode because, for me, that is, conservative compared to what I was in my past, maybe a year or two ago. Back in 2018, I was aggressive Canadian MJ. I have now since slowed down because I've hit a lot of goals, and I'm not going to continue playing overtly aggressive and potentially give back profit that I have already claimed. So, on a situation like, what does that mean? If we look at T-God at the end of the day today, I wanted to make an entry, and I pulled up an order, and I was close to filling it out, and I stopped myself. And I stopped myself because the hourly RSI is overextended. I'm pretty confident that Monday, T-God will get at least a little bit of follow-through, but that's the difference between aggressive and conservative. If I'm being aggressive, I enter that end of the day bull move. If I'm being conservative, I patiently wait, knowing that the hourly RSI is overextended and knowing that I can look for an hourly higher low to potentially make an entry, or I can just say that I missed that trade and then look for the next one, and I'm perfectly fine doing that as well. So if you're looking at a name like oils, nope, we haven't gotten there yet, Lab. So Lab's here. If I were being aggressive, I would look for potentially bottom fishing 510. And I'd maybe make an entry and put a stop loss at 508, 507, and then hope for that daily trend change and hope that every individual name that shows strength is a bit of a domino effect for the sector as a whole for a shift in sentiment. If I'm being conservative, I'm going to patiently wait, and I'm either going to wait for the bull break of 547, give up some of the reward to eliminate some of the risk, or if we keep pulling back further, then I will hold off and wait for a more clear setup. Oils on the daily time frame, still the daily exponential resistance here as well. Have to hold 43 and break 51 in order to see a clear daily trend change take place. So bulls held support today. Question is, next week, can we break 51 resistance and get this daily trend change underway? VGW, very unclear and getting a bit frustrating. We get the bull break with no follow through. We get a bear break with no follow through. So we're just patiently waiting for some follow through. And we can see the highest close is 428, so a close over 428 would be notable. And the lowest close we've seen in this period of consolidation is down at 409. So a close under 409 would be notable. So it's just a sideways range right now, and looking out on the weekly time frame, there's not really a whole lot of information. We're just patiently waiting for a break of this sideways range. Here it is on the 4-hour time frame, and just choppy, a lack of clarity. So again, if I'm being aggressive, maybe I'm making an entry and putting my stop under 394. If I'm being conservative, I'm being patient and waiting for a break of this range and then reacting to it. CXXI, solid bounce off the lows, 81 to 106. So that is a very solid 25% plus bounce. And to change the trend, again, inverse head and shoulders pattern set up here as well. Bulls have to follow through with it, but there's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Bulls need a break of 106 and 116 to confirm this trend change and get a very overdue bounce underway, as this monthly chart is looking to form an equilibrium. Anything over 62 is a higher low. The bulls are really hoping that it's 81 as our higher low. And the weekly time frame, very overdue for a bounce. This is a potential bear flag, but if we confirm this inverse head and shoulders pattern and break 106 and 116, that's going to shift the odds in favor of the bull. That's going to give us the first bull cross of the 12 and 26 period exponential moving average in a very long time. That's going to give us the first daily uptrend in a very long time. It's worth watching. CXXI. And RTH breaking the daily lower highs, but again, we don't have a daily trend change because it came off of the lows. We have to hold 76 and break 88 to confirm a daily trend change. And same thing, we need a clear cross of these exponential moving averages. We need the first clear daily trend change that we've seen. And we actually did have a daily trend change here that it actually did get follow through, but the bulls gave it all back. I don't really like North and RTH for that fact. Anything under 134 is just a weekly lower high. I don't like the clarity on the daily on this particular ticker. Probably because it's a penny stock. FIRE, choppy action, 150 is a multiple base of support, and the key resistance is 160, so just a 10-cent range. Again, penny stock at this point. Doesn't have to be under $1 to be a penny stock. Pretty much anything under, I forget what the definition is, maybe under $5, but bottom line is it acts like a penny stock. So I need to see a break. Look at all these holds of 150. You better believe that there's going to be a flush if 150 breaks with stop losses triggering after it being such a clear support level. So have to be cautious of that. And if we break 160, that's the shift in momentum the bulls are looking for. And then we'll be looking up at 185. And last, KHRN, also a falling wedge pattern. Let's see if this one draws a little bit better. But essentially, I'd just be looking at a slow slope of support and a resistance level like this. And I would want to include this candlestick to close under it, but you get the idea. A tightening range that is due to break. A bear break would be 216, and a bull break at this point, 238 for price levels, and breaking 238 would get us over this downtrend resistance line at this point. Break is imminent. Keep an eye on KHRN. In the next couple of days, we're either going to break down or break out from this tightening pattern. And again, pretty similar to T-God. Let's just compare these two. So that's what we look like here. And there's T-God on the daily. Pretty similar. But of course, we're missing the big green breakout day. So that's where we stand overall. Again, as I've said in recent videos, I personally don't have much interest in the Canadian MJ space right now. I'll have interest in the VFF 2-week equilibrium if that continues to tighten up through July. Definitely going to be interested in T-God, just watching the kind of follow-through we get. Because again, every individual name that sees a move like that and changes the momentum and sees gains is going to shift the sentiment for the sector as a whole. And we've got names like C-Web in the US. This is why I'm interested in the US. C-Web in 3 weeks has gone 60%. So there's other names that have gone 20%, 25%, and that's why I personally am watching the US MJ space. Not seeing the same thing in Canada. It is a bit different setup, certainly, as to what to expect for the next 1 to 2 years, but it'll be entertaining nonetheless. So we'll continue to track both. Certainly not going to give up on Canadian MJ because, as we know, just when everybody wants to give up, that's when the bulls show up. So we'll keep an eye on things. S&P 500 keeping its strength. Check out the USMJ video tomorrow. Hope you all do good things out there. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
4. So we got our wood chips delivered. We also got a pile of manure delivered. And this is our progress so far. Stripping away a path. We're going to put the wood chips in the path, and as we peel up the grass, we're putting it on top of the grass to create the raised bed. And we've been getting muck from the pond because the pond's pretty much 20 years of all these cypress leaves deteriorating. So we've been swimming in the pond and it's about a foot of muck. So we're taking some of that muck and putting it on the raised beds as well. So far it's sod flipped over on itself, some muck, we put some weeds that we've pulled up in there, and we're gonna add manure and we'll take it from there. This is gonna be the 1 row of raised beds. We're gonna get the wood delivered in a few days, and it's some second tier cut from a local sawmill. So we'll piece that together, and then we'll do another path to the left of it, and then another row of raised beds. And thinking of putting some blueberries in this mulch bed already established, and we'll see how it progresses. Blackberries are starting to ripen, and there's a huge difference between a blackberry that's hot from the sun and something that's days old and refrigerated and out of the grocery store, and it's way better. And these guys are big and fat. And it's important not to take every ripe berry. You want to leave some for the birds to have, because sharing is caring. Baby ducks are getting their sleek feathers now. The fuzzies are going away on their wings and continuing to get older. I'm coming to say hello.